Morning. Welcome to this morning's Cabinet meeting. I'm Councillor Mick Barton, Leader of the Council. I would like to welcome you all. This Cabinet meeting is being broadcast live, just to let you all know. Item 1, minutes of the last meeting held on the 6th of November. Can I accept these minutes as a true record, please? Can I show of hands? Thank you. Apologies for absence. I've got Councillor Kelvin Wright. Go on no more. Oh, sorry, Adrian Smith as well, of course. And Marge is sitting in for Adrian. Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest? No. Item 4, recommissioning and provider framework for alternative provision, specialist education placements. I'll now hand over to Anna John, the Cabinet Member for Education and SEN, to introduce the report.
Thank you, Councillor Barton. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Hannah.
So I'm here to present a report on behalf of the Cabinet Department of Education, Children and Families. So we are seeking the approval today to recommission our providing that framework for alternative provision. These are the specialist education placements for children who, due to disabilities or other circumstances, cannot attend a mainstream school. So to be clear on the scale, this is a key decision. We are looking at a potential 11-year framework with an estimated annual value of £20 million. So this reflects a significant upward trend in demand. For example, placements for children with education, health and care plans, EHCPs, have more than doubled in just the last few years. So our current system ends in January 2027, and we've learned a lot from it. So we aren't just renewing what we have, we are evolving. We've listened to providers who found the old process too bureaucratic, and we've listened to our young people and their parents. They told us they value the mental health support and interest-led learning, but they want more focus on preparing for adulthood and better social opportunities. Our new approach will move to a blended model with 5 distinct categories or lots, including individual and block booking arrangements, accredited online and one-to-one tutoring, registered full-time providers, full-time providers. This is designed to create more local places, reduce travel times for children, and allow for more specialised support for needs like autism and social, emotional and mental health. The new framework is set to launch for September 2026 academic year, with tenders opening early next year on a new, more user-friendly digital portal. Ultimately, this is not just about procurement, it's about meeting our statutory duty to ensure every child in Nottinghamshire has access to high quality education that raises their aspirations and supports their well-being. We recommend that Cabinet approves the move to tender and the subsequent award of these contracts to ensure no child is left without specialist support they need. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you just formally move the recommendation?
I formally move the recommendation.
Thank you. Thank you. I would now like to ask Councillor Sue Saddington, please, to join us at the table to give her views on this item.
Good morning, members.
Morning.
Morning.
I welcome the ambition behind the recommissioning, a clear locally tailored alternative provision offer for children who cannot be educated in mainstream settings is absolutely essential. I also want to recognise the work officers have done engaging with the young people, parents and providers. The framework proposed is sensible and long overdue, and the aims set out in the report, better outcomes, improved reintegration and stronger local provision, are the right ones. But the data in this report also tells a much more worrying story. Demand for alternative provision has been dramatically EHCP, referrals have jumped from dozens to hundreds in just a few years. And the total AP spend has now grown to around 16 to 20 million pounds a year. This is not incremental growth, it's a fundamental shift in demand. There is huge pressure on the high needs block. Annual spend on specialist placements sits around £16 million, and the overspend continues to grow. This is no longer a side issue, it is central to the Council's financial stability. The report notes that the statutory override means this overspend does not hit the revenue budget this year. But we must be clear, the override is temporary. It ends in March 2028, and when it does, any deficit will fall back on the Council unless a long-term national solution is delivered. History shows that once councils enter the override, getting out is extremely difficult, and we cannot assume this will simply resolve itself. This is why wider send capacity matters so much. This county has benefited from the delivery of the Ravensdale Send School, progressed under the previous Conservative administration. That investment is welcome, but one school alone will not meet the demand we are now forecasting. You may be aware that the government previously committed to supporting the delivery of an additional Send school provision in Nottinghamshire. Given the pressures we are seeing today and those that we know are coming, this administration must call on the government to honour that commitment. Throughout this report, we are told to expect rising demand, increasing complexity and escalating costs. Yet at the same time, the Reform administration has suggested that it intends to make around £3 million of saving from this department. These two positions cannot both be true. If demand is rising and overspends are forecast to grow, residents deserve a clear and honest explanation of how £3 million of savings can be delivered without reducing provision, shifting costs elsewhere, or increasing risk to vulnerable children. At the moment, that simply does not add up. That is why, while this framework is necessary, we must not allow soaring costs to become the norm. The phrase "no direct impact this year" must not be used as an excuse to defer difficult decisions. In closing, I support the intent behind this work, but the financial picture looks very worrying. We need a clear long-term plan, because once 2028 arrives, these consequences will be real. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Saddington. Are there any views, comments or questions from Cabinet members? Councillor Berry.
Thanks very much indeed for the presentation of the paper. Again, it's entirely consistent with the 5-year strategy for Nottinghamshire County Council, where you championed the basic no child left behind, and this report epitomises that, strengthens it, and recognises that there are variable needs for variable children. You may not be suitable for mainstream education, you may not be ready for a SEND school, that there's some provision in between. if we look at that provision, does the system in place monitor the progress of that child to see if this is still the most appropriate place for them to be put? And does it give you a monitoring that would allow you to decide when it's right for that child to move back into mainstream education? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ollie. Councillor John.
Thank you for that question. Yes, there are various ways in which we have ongoing assessment and we monitor AP and the effectiveness. So I'll just state a few. So we have a regular review of attendance, progress and engagement, which is undertaken by EOTAS professional practitioners who monitor daily attendance and liaise immediately with providers over any behavioural or safeguarding concerns. So we also have practitioners conduct a half-termly provider visits, recording observations linked to quality, safeguarding programme suitability and learner outcomes. Additionally, we have providers who outcome stars and progress measures to monitor academic and social, emotional and behavioural development. Case examples show how regular outcome scoring captures improvement over terms. And where concerns arise, contracts of commissioning, partnership and quality assessment leads, and where required, the LADO work jointly with providers to support improvements or intervene. So the oversight is maintained by the School Safeguarding Leadership and Governance Group and a multi-agency panel chaired by the Head of Service of Education Quality Provision and Effectiveness, which reviews issues relating to AP as a system. So, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor John. Are there any more comments? No? Well, can I put this to the vote now, please? Can I have a show of hands in favour? Thank you, everybody. We'll move on to item 5, Working Age Adults Residential Care Commissioning and Procurement Review. I will now hand over to Councillor Answer, the Cabinet Member for Adult Social Care, to introduce the report and formally move the recommendation.
Thank you, Chairman. Under the Care Act 2014, local authorities have a legal duty to ensure that individuals with eligible care and support needs can access appropriate residential care when it's in the most suitable option to meet their needs, where other less restrictive options are deemed inappropriate or unavailable. Care homes are regulated by the Care Quality Commission, and the size, specimens and staffing models within the care homes can vary significantly in regulation of the broad range of support needs, risks which are met with the provision. There are 113 residential care homes, 13 nursing care homes operating in Nottinghamshire with the appropriate regulated status from the CQC to provide care for adults aged 65 years of age and under. 70% of care homes in Nottinghamshire have a good or outstanding rate with the CQC. As of December 25, there are 560 adults under age of 65 residing in residential care and 100 residing in residential care with nursing provision, which are funded by the council with net estimates of financial investments made by the council of £67 million for the 25-26 period. The workforce estimates suggested working age adults care home service in Nottinghamshire are a significant source of employment for local people and represent more than 2,000 jobs within the social care. The council has conducted a strategic review of its arrangements to identify the procedure working age adults residential care services, seeking to replace the existing dynamic purchasing system, which is what we're operating now, approach which was introduced in 2016, with the new residential care framework agreement intending to revise terms and conditions, enhance monitoring and data collection, and strengthen the council's ability to ensure value for money. Importantly, a change in the procurement mechanism for the DPS, which allows providers to keep joining and hasn't controlled price well enough in the framework, even ensure the council can have a clear relationship and establish a clear terms of providers that are also in the council's control the price and standards more effectively. I formally move the recommendations which are on page 7 of the report or 21 on the agenda papers. And the recommendations are: 1, to establish a new provider framework for a period of 10 years, expected from August 26, for the commissioning of residential care with nursing, respite care, and provision predominantly for working age adults via competitive tender. 2, to award the framework contract to the successful provider. 3, to award call-off contracts to the framework contract providers in accordance with the terms of the provider's framework. And 4, to extend the council's existing residential care dynamic purchasing approach as a contingency to run alongside the new framework for a period of 12 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Answer. Continue, Barry. Can I invite Councillor Jonathan Wheeler, please, to join us at the table and share his views? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. So first of all, I'm really glad to see that you're continuing with the strategic position we had to support more people to live in a place they call home with their own front door, which is not achieved in residential care. Most residents want to stay in their own home for as long as they can, and providing it is safe for them to do so, we should encourage this. Proposals we were looking at included working with the Mayor, with her Brownfield Sites Fund, and district councils and housing providers on more bespoke housing for older residents, housing which can be adapted more easy, for example, because we all know the huge cost to actually adapt home once it's built, but if you do that from the ground up, it saves lots of money for this council. I asked the Cabinet to take these proposals forward, and I'll happily work with you on this, as it has potential to save money in the long run and deliver better outcomes for our residents. We'll also say that I continue to be concerned by the risk we have of the cuts this government is imposing on the ICB, given the millions of pounds we rely on in contributions from them towards care packages. So can I ask what financial resilience has been put in place ahead of your budget next year to safeguard against the risk of then cutting or reducing this funding even further and putting more risk on our residents? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wheeler. Are there any views, comments or questions from Cabinet members? No? Okay. Well, can I put that to the vote then, please? Can I have a show of hands? Thank you. I'll move on to item 6, the A614 A6097 improvement scheme. I will now hand over to Councillor Birmingham to present his report.
Good morning. I'm delighted to finally present this report on the A614 A6097 improvement scheme, which is now finally has its funding package in place. The purpose of the report is to agree to the Department of Transport funding package or funding offer, the MCA funding offer, and to agree to commence the works. This project's been in the pipeline for a number of years, as people know, probably 5 years now. So I'd like to acknowledge all the hard work that's gone into this project over that time in developing the business case. I'll outline the funding package and also the programme of work before I move to propose or recommend the measures. It includes 5 roundabouts. It's the enhancement of an existing road corridor, which does suffer or has suffered from transport issues, let's say, over a long period of time. The programme means that it will commence, because of preliminary works, etc., enabling works and contract preparation. The works will commence in spring of next year, more than likely. There is a programme in the report for anybody to review. The last part of the, if I jump to the end, the last part of the project will be to the Ollerton roundabout, which will commence in, or is programmed to commence in autumn of next year, and will take 2 years to complete. So we're looking August 28th for programme completion. The funding package is via the Department of Transport, Notts County Council, Section 106 and EMCA. And due to the delays up to September of this year and the release of the Department of Transport funding, there was gap funding, which, thanks to Councillor Mick Barton, negotiating with EMCA to approve the gap funding of up to 7.2 million. The project is now fully funded and can go ahead. So, and by the way, it's not just a road improvement, it will open up economic development land along the corridor as well. So I'm delighted to move to recommend that Cabinet accepts the funding offer from the Department of Transport, accepts the funding offer from EMCA, East Midlands Combined Councils Authority, and approves commencement of the work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Biggin. Can I invite Councillor Bruce Law, please, to join us at the table and give his views? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leader, for giving me the opportunity to speak on this particular issue. This is obviously fantastic news. The late Stella Smedley will be turning in her grave. We can all remember back in the old days, all she used to, well, not all she used to talk about. We talk about a lot of things, but Ollerton Roundabout was always on the forefront of her mind. So that's the reason it is such a good news story for the mining area in North Nottinghamshire, not just particular areas, not just Ollerton. I mean, this scheme is absolutely vital. The A614, for those people that are unaware, is the main north artery in the county. It covers 2/3 of the county and joins the A1 and therefore has suffered, as Bert has alluded to, over a number of years through mainly increase in traffic. Mark Spencer MP put a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit on it, and that didn't really make a lot of difference to the effectiveness of this road. I've been involved in this since we started in 2018, walked in Kay's office and said we've got to do something about this. She agreed, and that was the start of the planning process, and the planning went into the Department of Transport in 2024. There was a unfortunate delay due to elections that caused quite a considerable hiatus in the process. And actually the first cost that was alluded to on this particular scheme was 27 million. And it's gone up from 27 million to nearly 47 million, which is a massive increase over that period of time. And you do have to blame politicians for dillying and dallying over the decision-making process on this subject. And to be quite honest, the Labour Party have been sat on it for 15 months. But I have to applaud them really for coming off the fence and actually agreeing to fund it, and EMCA as well. You know, we brought in the East Midlands Mayor, and the East Midlands Mayor has got funding available to help us deliver this scheme, and there will be real problems, as we well know, whenever you build out these sorts of schemes, in keeping within costs, and it will be our responsibility and your responsibility as well to ensure that those costs are kept within the bounds of the budget. We've only just got to look at the Gedling access road to realise it's very easy to overspend on these sort of schemes, and you've got to be very careful that is not done. But my main reason for speaking is Agenda 15. I'd like to actually thank the Reform, it's quite rare this, but I'd like to thank the Reform Group for keeping this in. It's extremely important to the residents that I represent in Bilsthorpe. And I'd just like to very quickly, if I may, Leader, just explain the situation. During the planning process, it was recognised that the Mickledale Lane junction, if it was kept in the scheme, would mean that it failed the criteria. So I was sent along with officers to talk to the residents of Bilsthorpe to ask them if they would mind if we separated out Mickledale Lane from the scheme. They agreed on the understanding that Mickledale Lane and the improvements on Mickledale Lane, which is really important to those residents, was funded by this county council. We gave that promise to those residents. And so as a result, the scheme got passed. So the residents all the way along the A614, and that includes Ollerton, Edwinstowe, Blidworth, all the way down to Loudon, hold the residents of Bilsthorpe as they are the reason why they are getting this improvement scheme, because they were prepared to make that decision. And that is why it is so important that we actually honour, as a council, not Reform or Labour or Conservative, as a council, that promise. In the past, I have seen this council break promises like this twice, and electorally, that has cost them big style. The closure of Rufford School, for example, meant the downfall of Labour in that particular area. And so that is why I am so pleased to see that you are honouring that promise that was given to those residents. And so it is extremely important. And that is why, actually, it doesn't bode well if councillors like the member for Sherwood go on the Bilsthorpe Facebook claiming credit for something he's had absolutely nothing to do with. And that has really upset the residents of Bilsthorpe. But I welcome this, and I welcome your commitment, and I will more than happily help out. I've been involved in the planning process right the way from the beginning, because it is so important to those residents in those mining areas, which I have an absolute affinity to, that we support those areas as best as we possibly can as a county council. They need our support, they deserve our support, and I welcome that support. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Lawton. Are there any views, queries or questions from Cabinet members, please? Oh, Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Leader. Before I do ask the question, I would just like to mention Councillor Stella Smedley myself. I was here, fortunately, in 2009 to 2013 when Stella was present, and this project was something she cried out for years. And if she was still here with us now, you know, she'd be smiling, then nipping down to the embankment for a cigarette, because that's what she used to do. And she was a wonderful lady. In fact, I didn't always agree with the politics, but she was a wonderful lady. So my question is, I'm pleased that we're now in a position where all the funds are in place from the Department of Transport and MCA, so we are able to commence work on the A614, A6097 improvement scheme. I would like to thank officers, all the officers that were involved in the project, for their hard work, and of course Councillor Barton and Bingham for their work in getting the funding over the line from MCA. Will the council be providing information to road users and transport companies to inform them of possible disruption during the construction phase, which I imagine will be quite disruptive. Other than roundabouts, not great at the best of times, so we can imagine what it's going to be like. And will they also be sharing this information with companies that provide data for feeding information into sat-navs? So alternative routes can be devised for critical stages of this work. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Wright. I agree with you that there's going to be short-term disruption, which isn't going to go down well for 2.5 years along that stretch of road. The project has a full communication plan, which will cover all aspects to the public through different channels, including sat-nav operators, for HGV operators, that kind of thing. The intention is to keep the public informed and minimise the impact of the works on the travelling public and businesses as far as possible. I'll get regular updates and be able to update the council as well. So thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Councillor Green.
It's just a comment really. I think it's really nice to see in politics all these different entities working together in one and getting this over the line. And so just wanted to kind of second honouring people in the past and present, and thank you for all your hard work, councillors and Councillor Bingham, and everyone has a nice Christmas.
Okay,
Thank you.
any more? Councillor Walker-Gilly.
Just like to make another positive comment and reiterate the scale and significance of the massive investment. Beyond improving safety and reducing congestion, these upgrades will unlock economic growth by helping attract new businesses, supporting housing development and improving access to jobs and services across Nottinghamshire. It's a long-term strategic commitment to the county's connectivity, resilience and prosperity, and one that will deliver tangible benefits for residents, communities and the local economy for many years to come.
Thank you. Anybody else? Can I have a show of hands, please, to formally put this forward? Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Before I close the meeting, I'd just like to say a big thank you to fellow Cabinet members and the opposition for your input into these Cabinet meetings. We have done a lot in such a short space of time, but tomorrow we are breaking up for 2 weeks. So please enjoy your holidays, because we've got an hard year ahead of us next year. Any problems between tomorrow and the 5th of January, this is just to Cabinet members, sort them out yourself. Have a lovely Christmas and a Happy New Year, and enjoy your break. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.